When was the last time you willingly used the Berserk? Like, actually used it. Not just trying it out for half an hour before inevitably going back to the same OS you always used. The Berserk is easily the most slept on way to play Cyberpunk 2077, and honestly, fair enough. You have to give up guns, grenades, and most of your vision, and in return you get to punch things. Real hard. Compared with the Sandevistan or the Cybernetic, it definitely feels a lot more limited. It offers less, takes away more. It's clunky, loud, and often leaves you swinging at air in the middle of a firing squad. But you know what? When it works, it works. You can absolutely delete your enemies off the face of the earth. I don't know what it is, but there is just something so satisfying about single brain cell destruction. No thoughts, just punch. No planning stealthy routes or thinking about the consequences of getting spotted. Just pop berserk and charge in head first. Either they die, or you do. Anyway, let's go over some rules. All damage must be done while in the berserk mode. As long as the attack originates from berserk, it's fine. I can only use weapons available in berserk, because obviously, how would I even go about using anything else? And yeah, that's pretty much it. Nice and simple. So let's get into it. I start out by selecting very hard difficulty, because mama ain't raised no bitch. Selecting the corpo life path because there is no combat, and I imagine they have the most anger issues. Then I spam random character until we get this absolutely majestic gentleman. I stick everything into body, reflexes, and tech. My journey begins with a sip of water and being called to see the boss man. I experience the biggest benefit of playing on a controller, while simultaneously getting reprimanded for my tardiness. The boss man tells me to take out a corpo rival, Susan, but before I can act, these two bozos pull up on me, and take me for everything I own. Jackie and I are given a job to rescue Sandra Dorset. We come across our first enemies. However, I haven't got a berserk yet, so no damage for me, meaning Jackie is going to have to solo this and every other encounter until I can get myself a berserk. I prance around the room, dodging and waiting for Jackie to do his thing. But it turns out, Mama absolutely raised a bitch, because this is taking forever, and I want to get to the actual point of the challenge. So I begrudgingly turn the difficulty down and let Jackie try again. This time, Jackie gets it done in a much more timely manner, and we press on rescuing old Sandy. Knowing I must be exhausted from my extremely hard job of watching him do everything, Jackie offers me a drive home. While I'm busy being a passenger princess, some goons start shooting at us. Fortunately, Their aim rivals the stormtrooper, and we easily get away while barely even acknowledging their existence. Upon arriving home, I immediately adorn the most diabolical fit I can, before Jackie calls me up and tells me to meet him outside, where he tells me about Dex and a job he has for us. Knowing this job will be a step up from our usuals, we go to see Victor to get some Preem Chrome upgrades. And then I'm straight over to Dex for the rundown of the plan, where he explains he wants us to steal a prototype biochip from Arasaka Tower, and informs us that we are going to need to retrieve the Flathead device from Maelstrom, and pay a little visit to the client Evelyn Parker. We put all that to the side for now because it's time to grind for level 10 so that I can unlock the Berserk. I complete as many jobs as I can without inflicting any damage, like helping Lucy escape Maelstrom, stealing a van that apparently can't drive up these steps, and end up doing a drive of shame back all the way around. I help a man with a flaming dong get to a river dock. Eventually, I head over to Lizzie's bar to meet with the client Evelyn, where I'm greeted at the door by absolute fine she. I ask at the bar for Evelyn, who promptly appears and tells me to come and meet Judy,
Hey, Judy.
who shoves me in a BD and tells me to look for where the prototype biochip is being stored. I then call Meredith Stout with the bright idea to use her money to pay off the Flathead peacefully. Having never tested this option before, I soon realise I am in fact dumb as fuck, because as soon as they use that card, a virus takes over the factory instantly, causing Maelstrom to attack. After Jackie dispatches them all, we continue through the factory, finally catching up to Royce, who has a big ass shield. The shield makes it a nightmare for Jackie to hear him, and I spend 15 minutes jumping around trying to distract him with backshots, so that Jackie can lean some clean hits. Eventually, he goes down, giving me a large chunk of XP. I make my way to the Ripper Dock, doing a handful of crime reports on the way. I reach level 10 and can start the actual challenge. Upon my arrival at the Ripper Dock, I purchase the Biodyne Berserk, which increases my crit damage and attack speed while not allowing my health to drop below 25% for 8 seconds. While I'm there, I also install some thermal gorilla arms for big damage and a reflex tuner to help me escape combat after the Berserk runs out, as well as some other bits and pieces. I slap the difficulty back up to very hard and go and test what my next 15 hours will be like, where I instantly fail the run by hitting outside of the 8-second window. I then try again and mess up my escape, catching a bullet that kills me.
It's not looking good, bruv.
I meet Jackie at the afterlife to begin the heist, where we meet up with Dex and T-Bug and go over the plan, before heading to Konpeki Plaza with Dell. I infiltrate using the Flathead to give T-Bug a way in. After a few hours, it's time to go. Me and Jackie head up to Yorinobu's penthouse to collect the prototype biochip. Something goes wrong, and Saburo and the gang are on their way. Me and Jackie hide in the pillar. Just before everyone turns up, Adam Smasher gives me a death stare, and Yorinobu kills his papa. After Yorinobu leaves, me and Jackie make a break for it, where Jackie and the case catch a bullet. Jackie, being the absolute gazer he is, slots the relic into his head to keep it from sustaining any more damage. I enter my first actual combat encounter with two guards, who easily get put down, followed by a 60-second countdown, which feels like an eternity. Because I respect your time, you're gonna wait with me. After the second Berserk window, I realise I missed an enemy and have to wait a full 60 seconds again to take out a single low level enemy. During my wait, boredom kicks in and I start roleplaying a Rainbow Six Siege operator. And then, just as I get to the end of the cooldown, I'm hit with a cyberware malfunction that gives me another 11 seconds on top of my cooldown. On the next batch of enemies, my reflex tuner kicks in at the end of my 8-second window, making it extremely difficult to see and causes me to start shooting an enemy as my window runs out, meaning I must now repeat all of the previous steps. I finally make it down to the lobby where I play Ring of Roses with an enemy, before deleting them all in 2 cycles of Berserk. And head off to catch a ride with Dellerman. Then a chase section occurs, with an instant kill box at the end, forcing me to shoot my pistol to destroy the drones. Let's pretend that never happened. You didn't see anything. The main man Jackie also passes away.
See you in the major leagues, Jack.
As if I wasn't already sad enough from failing the challenge. Cheers, game. I decide to press on with the run and go meet with Dex, who promptly puts a bullet in my brain.
No blaze of glory for me.
Then I have a Johnny flashback where I'm forced to fire a gun. God, the blows keep coming. Curse these scripted sections. I then let Rogue slowly dispatch the Arasaka guards before being put in a room filled with enemies alone with no berserk. I make the decision to do it fists only to try to retain some challenge, and die immediately. I make heavy use of hit and run on the next attempt, which goes much more smoothly. Johnny gets caught by Smasher and hit with Soul Killer. I wake up in a trash heap and crawl to Takamura, who puts me in his car and gives me a heal. He then forces me to shoot my gun again. I did not remember this many unberserkable sections being in this game. I wake up in Victor's clinic, where he tells me I only have so long to live, and Misty wheels me back to my house. I'm then terrorized by Johnny, who tells me to unalive myself. I hit him with an unreactable nap and start my next day with a new horrendous fit. I go and have a chat with Johnny and Tack. Tack tells me to find Evelyn, who might be able to help me remove the relic. And Johnny tells me to go see Rogue, because she can help me find Hellman. I go see Rogue, who tells me she can find Hellman for a hefty sum. She gives me Panem's number, because I will need the help. I call Panem, we shit talk Rogue a little, and she invites me to meet.
Nash, you dirt-eating bastard. I will strangle you.
Panem tells me I have to help her first. So we head over to the Nomad camp to get some equipment and talk some more shit about Rogue. I meet Mitch, Scorpion, and grab some supplies. After Panem and I finish setting up, we wait until nightfall to spring our ambush. I use my Berserk for stealth takedowns, which if you ask me, is the wrong way to use it. Thankfully, it goes wrong and I'm spotted, turning the fight into a brawl. Panem asks for help taking out Nash, and I am unable to refuse. So we head over to his hideout, and Cyberpunk does some Cyberpunk things. I use the classic hit and run strategy, and on my second attack run, I get hit with a cripple movement just as my Berserk is about to run out, destroying my escape potential. Frantically jumping and spamming my healing item just about gets me to safety. Just for dramatic tension, I'm also hit with an overheat, which also just about fails to kill me. After about 10 minutes, the enemies are cleared up, and Panam is very happy. We finalise the deal, and I drop some unreciprocated riz on her. Morning comes, and she informs me of her plan to capture Helmet. We head to an antenna to position some EMPs to take out the carrier. Another force shooting section occurs. I fail to take down the carrier with the planted explosive, so Bay whips out her big rocket. I'm forced to shoot again, and this time, Panem gets shot. We arrive at the crashed carrier and scan for Mitch and Scorpion. I use my supreme movement tech to immediately disable the carrier's weapons, and then take all the enemies out a few at a time. I get the information from the Kang Tao pilot, but Panem shoots him anyway. We head straight to the gas station. I immediately run through a minefield to show the enemies how strong I am, and no other reason. I very slowly dispatch all the enemies and reach Hellman, punching him unconscious and kidnapping him.
You're my friend now. We're having soft tacos later.
I have some words with Hellman about him removing the biochip from my head. He tells me he can't and hands me the project documentation. I leave him with Tack. I have a mental breakdown and Johnny tells me we need to reach Mikoshi. It's where we can settle our biz. I go see Judy, who says to ask about Evelyn in Clouds. I find and kill Woodman and give him a tea bag for being such a dodgy fella. I find out Evelyn's been taken to Fingers to have some work done. I beat up his goons outside, then barge in on him to find out more information. I hit the most satisfying punch of the whole run. I kill the bloke with the XBD and take it for analysis, where we use our incredible skills of deduction to find Ev based on shitty pizza and coffee. I take out all the guards and move to a lower level. I catch some Muppets slacking. I finish off the scavs, collect Evelyn, and find a cool katana that I have absolutely no intention of using. Back at Judy's place, we use a BD, yet again, to discover we need to find the Voodoo Boys. I call Mr. Hands, who is going to set me up a meeting with the Voodoo Boys. While I wait for Mr. Hands, I beat up some brats, which turns out to be ludicrously easy. Takamura then hits me up like, yo, let's meet, and tries to convince Oda to switch sides.
Switching sides.
He takes me to Wakako for information about the parade, and then says he'll call me again later. Mr. Hands finally calls back, which I know doesn't seem long to you, but was honestly hours for me. I was having tons of problems with calls in this playthrough. Panem never even called me back, which really hurt my feelings. Anyway, who cares? Not me. My feelings aren't hurt, yours are. I meet Placide, who tells me to clear out the GIM before he will do any kind of business with me. So I pop over there and clap everyone's cheeks. I accidentally stumble into Sasquatch's room just before finishing up, and the door's locked behind me. So I beat up Sasquatch so bad her AI breaks, and before finishing her off, I head back and clear things up, discovering I'm actually here for a Netwatch agent. I finish off Sassy and let the Netwatch agent purge me of my virus. Placide throws a tantrum because I didn't do what he wanted, and I smack him. Just before a fight can break out, Brigitte stops us and tells me to follow her so they can extract some data from my biochip, and in return, they'll help me. We all plunge into the deep net and summon a Johnny section. I start by dodging around, trying not to have to fight, but as the time drags on, it becomes apparent I'm gonna have to throw some hands. I get mantis bladed through the back, and Alt gets whisked off. I wake up in a Ripper docks with some dodgy paparazzi geezer who comes with me to go and rescue Alt. Before we can leave, Arasaka show up, and I make the decision that Fists Only is closer to a Berserk Only challenge than AFK pacifisming. Not a word? Doesn't matter. You know what I mean. Somehow this becomes the hardest part of the run so far, and I die many, many times. Either from overextending, or Rogue body blocking me in a door. Eventually, I make it downstairs, about half an hour of attempts later, only to mess up my dash and get peppered. Another few attempts later, and it's all smooth sailing, right to the end, where I'm rewarded with a mandatory shooting section. We push into the Arasaka building, holding Alt, and this time the Fists Only goes much better, taking only a single attempt. Akira challenges me to a 1v1 Fists Only duel. Clearly he doesn't know who I am. I rush into the room containing Alt, only to find her dead. I'm then transported back to my body in cyberspace, where we approach the Blackwall to contact Alt. The Voodoo Boys are fried by Netwatch, thanks to them slipping in a little something something. I'm spared from the same fate as them by Alt, who takes Johnny and I to another location for a chat. She tells us if we can reach Mikoshi and plug her in, she can disentangle our neural networks. I make my way back up through the church, running into Placide. Or maybe through is a better word, because bro did not last 8 seconds. I'm then contacted by a mysterious stranger named Somi, who tells me I must get into Dogtown to help save the President of the United States. I reach the Dogtown border, where she hops into my head via the relic, and disappears Johnny. Unfortunately for her, it takes a bit more than cool Blackwall magic to impress me. I'm definitely not jealous, and walk away, causing a mission failed, and more importantly, a free ticket into Dogtown, where I collect some relic points for the explosive guerrilla arms and vulnerability analytics, for a good spike to my damage output. I receive Tack's call and meet him on the sky bridge, where he gives me the plan to nab Hanako. He gets me to test a shard we got from Wakako, so by being the stealthy guy I am, I rip open the door in broad daylight, using my sheer aura to hide in plain sight. The test goes well, and we take a drive over to Arasaka base for some scouting activities. I point out some glaring flaws in the base that I couldn't care less about. We bond over Kitty, and I fall to my death. I reset the entire section and start my very sneaky assault by rage baiting this guy. I hop the fence like it's not even there, set up my base in the control tower, popping in and out to take down as many enemies as I can with each charge of Berserk. I briefly experience what it's like to be blind, and then hit this sick double clothesline before running back to my base. About 10 minutes later, the outside is clear. I open the warehouse door to show the enemies how strong I am. I channel my inner zombies player to train the enemies down the hallways and farm them for 8 seconds. Eventually I get rid of enough enemies so that I can peacefully install the shard and bounce. I head to the parade where Arasaka don't suspect a thing, and the parade commences. I make my way through the crowd and take out my first sniper. I fly across a bridge that is supposed to dramatically fall apart and observe this sniper doing his job really well. The final sniper goes down and I go to unplug the netrunner. Oda gets absolutely nuked out of existence. But unfortunately a misinput occurs. This time Oda manages to sweep my feet and run away. The coward. I have no option but to wait for my berserk to recharge, so I stand in the center of the arena mogging him while he thinks he's invisible. How is this guy one of Arasaka's top employees? This time I manage to restrain myself from accidentally mutilating him and take his cool sword. Tak nabs Hanako and we go on the run. We try to convince Hanako that her brother's a mug before hearing a strange knock. The room explodes and I fall down a hole in the floor. I climb back up and save Princess Tak. We escape the building and I collapse on the steps outside, where Takamura decides to exercise being a bad friend. Anyway, me and Johnny hide up in a motel and Hanako proxies herself in and tells me to meet her at Embers. I have my worst seizure yet, and this time Johnny gets to drive. I wake up at another hotel. Johnny gives me his dog tags to show me when the time comes he will leave my body. It's honestly a very nice moment. He then turns straight to revenge and tells me to call Rogue so that we can hunt down Adam Smasher together. I arrive at the afterlife and hand over my body to Johnny so he can talk to Rogue. He instead decides this is the perfect moment to go on a massive bender, but at least I get a cool tattoo out of it. I wake up with a terrible hangover and Rogue talking my ear off. I meet up with Rogue and we wait until nightfall before moving in, presumably for stealthy purposes. LMAO. We question Grayson about Smasher, and he tells us he's head of the Arasaka security, and he won't be back. He tells us he can give us something really cool if we spare his life, but joke's on him, I've played these games before and already know where it is. I accidentally turn on my Berserk and hit the right trigger. Whoops. I grab the secret car and drive to the oil fields to find Johnny's grave. I watch a quick tutorial for unlocking Don't Fear the Reaper and go about leveling to 30 for at least one tier higher equipment. I'll do some miscellaneous gigs including putting on this random BD, which gives me crippling sadness. After a quick rewatch of the entirety of Edge Runners on 10 times speed, I am now extremely ready to take on Adam Smasher. I put on the jacket and redo my cyberware. I unequip the biomonitor because for those of you who don't know, in Don't Fear the Reaper, there is a unique mechanic where you start with about 25% less HP and lose 1% of your original HP every 45 seconds, which for me is every time I want to deal damage. So with a lot of waiting around, my health is practically guaranteed to reduce below 50%, which would cause my health item to proc every time it completes a recharge, effectively leaving me without any heals. I replace it with a second heart and upgrade gorilla arms. I get my Berserk to gold, which gives me 11 seconds of Berserk with a 45-second recharge, and chuck the rest of my money on armor as my health is going to be very low and I'm not trying to get one-shotted. Unfortunately, I'm quite broke, so I can't afford all that much in the way of armor, but fuck it, we ball. What could possibly go wrong? I go see Hanako, who unsuccessfully tries to convert me into a corporate shill. I stumble out of the building and Johnny takes me to see Vic. Vic tells me I'm cooked, and Misty takes me up to the roof to reflect on my life or some shit. I don't know. I go and make some scran while I wait for the secret ending. I come in swinging and take out two, and return to dashing. I destroy some mechs and elite soldiers to obtain an elevator key. After reaching the top of the elevator, I'm met with more enemies, and the elevator makes for a nice safe space between berserk charges. I launch myself into a large crowd of enemies, and use the ground pound, which destroys a large chunk of enemies before going crazy mode, and managing to kill the other 5 while barely being able to see, due to the reflex tuner. I take out the rest of the enemies inside the glass room and expose the pillar. While it's exposing, I get attacked by multiple very tough enemies. I try to hide around the room, but they always manage to catch up with me, and I have to keep rotating, almost dying multiple times. Sadly, I don't get away in time after my berserk runs out, and I'm killed. Psych! Second heart saves the day, and I'm able to get away and finish off the remaining enemies. I plug in ult and prepare myself for Smasher. I start the fight with some pretty underwhelming damage, and set about evasive maneuvers. I keep up this strategy until I whittle him down. At about a third of his health, he calls in some sniper support. The snipers are very scary and the top priority to kill because they can easily one-shot me. To offset the one-shot, I periodically pop heal to boost my overshields. My movement is too fast for them, and they all go down within about 4 seconds. Smasher manages to put me down, but unluckily for him, my second heart has just about recharged, allowing me to narrowly escape and finally take him down after about 10 minutes. Not too bad. I finish him off for Johnny, David, and Rebecca. I see how crispy the Mikoshi water is and can't resist a quick dip, and meet up with Alt and Johnny in cyberspace. I decide to give up my body to Johnny because he's a pretty swell guy sometimes, and Johnny packs his bags, ready to leave Night City. He hitches a ride with Henry and teaches him about himself in another life. He says his last goodbye to V, David, and Rebecca before leaving Night City forever, completing the run. The Berserk has been great fun, but sadly, you cannot beat Cyberpunk 2077 with it exclusively. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, you're greatly appreciated. And why don't you consider dropping me a like and subscribe? I might make another video one day, you never know. This was my first video, and I had a lot of fun making it. Peace.